Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about the show right now. Let's just get into the show. They say about a lot of things, and I think gardening is one of them. You can learn it in a day, but it takes a lifetime to master. It's something where the concept of it seems very basic, and anyone can do it pretty well. But if you really, really want to dig into it, there are greater truths underneath that are not only useful in it, but salving to the soul, as it were. Anyway, getting a little philosophic. Scott talks in this clip I'm going to show you today about the importance of the pH of your water and alkalinity and all these issues. But more importantly than that, it's a long clip, and it kind of, as he's talking about it, he goes through several different scenarios, and you start to see how the mind of a truly experienced, decades of hard-won experience gardener thinks about things, goes about things, how they assess the situation and deal with it. And I think it's really valuable and worth the 10 or so minutes it's going to take to watch it. So I'd like you to watch it. I'll talk to you after.
And then stand on it, so it'll probably be your best bet.
Okay. Then you send me this. Do you want me to just read it, or you got it?
Let me pull it up here.
All right.
Is it the one that says...
So slurry test came out 6.4 last night. Was definitely encouraging. I can imagine it would drift from that quickly, however. So if you could give me your recommendation on top dressing, that would be awesome.
Yeah, perfect. So, new grower, new to us, got back to me. I mean...
Never grown before or never grown nectar? Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like he's tried growing before, regardless, but he's on a different potting soils, a Fox Farm soil, Ocean Forest Happy Frog, newer to our line for sure, brand new to our line, newer to growing it sounds like, and he was having some issues with a pH drop in these products, finding out he has RO water. We've just been going back and forth. I mean, this is my email chain when you're new to me. I just keep asking you questions, you keep answering them. So, like a lot of people in our community, is they're using RO water, they're using distilled water, they're using some form of stripped out, cleaned version of a water source. And as we come to talk about a million hours on this show about alkalinity and pH drop.
Sorry about that.
So he reached out with, this is what's happening. So, I mean, I don't have canned responses. I don't have cut and paste information. I just have it in my head from doing it 1,000 times. So I did my 1,000 times spiel of, okay, well, if you're at this, then find some garden lime or some chimera or some form of calcium carbonate limestone, not dolomite or gypsum, blah, blah, blah. Here's why. So I gave way too much information, and then I said, add in about 1 cup per 10 gallons. He was at 6.57 on the pH. And all his plants are starting to struggle and starve because of the pH. And so we've been going back and forth, and the point of what I'm trying to say is this limestone thing and RO water and distilled water, well, I'm going to go back. So I told him my recommendation, and then I told him to buy Down to Earth Garden Lime, which, I do recommend. If you can't find Chimera, I know the Down to Earth Garden Lime product. It's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
So then he contacted Down to Earth about the garden lime and said, well, this guy from this company is telling me I should add about 1 cup per 10 gallons. And they're like, oh, no, that's just too much. You should only use 1 tablespoon per 10 gallons. So, and that's fine. That's their recommendation. They grow lettuce and, nursery pot plants. And, I've worked there for 7 years. So
this is a crop duster telling you how to use a space shuttle.
It's a farmer it's worse. It's a corn farmer telling you how to grow indoor cannabis.
Yeah.
And I love Down to Earth. It's one of my favorites. It's where it got me on this path. It really is. But 1 tablespoon, I asked him, okay, well, let's do that for about a week, and let's do another slurry in a week. And lo and behold, his pH is right at 5.6, because 1 tablespoon isn't going to get you anywhere. And so we started discussing it more and more, and he was like, boy, it'd be really helpful if there was just a set amount. And there isn't, and the reason is because the pH is so different with so many people, and the RO or the distilled or the tap, everything is, we don't have cookie cutter answers because there's no cookie cutter solutions.
No.
So here's my general gist on this. If you're at 5.5 If you're below 5.5, let's talk on a whole different level. But these are the normal ones, 5.5 to 6. You're getting ready to go into bloom, or you're at 5.5 to 6 and you're in the middle of bloom. You know this happens to you. You know that every round you flip your plants into flower, and then 3 to 4 weeks in, you're at 5.5. So knowing this, everybody who's in their 4th round, 5th round, 17th round of growing, and you're in your 4th week and you're at 5.5, this happens because your water is stripping all the calcium carbonate out of your mix, and you no longer have carbonate in your soil, which means it's going to become acidic. So knowing this, and if it happens every single time, you know this. This is the given now.
Yeah.
So you're about to go into bloom, add 1 cup of lime to 10 gallons of soil, and that's going to get you most of the way through for most of these guys. And that's when starting at 5.5 to 6.0. That's where you end up in weeks 3 or 4 of bloom. 1 cup per 10 gallons. It's anything less, you guarantee have to add more at some point during the flowering cycle. So just start with the 10. Mix it in the top 6 inches of that refreshed soil and let it leach in and buffer as you go.
And this is a $10 box that you'll never use all of.
It's a $20 50-pound bag.
Yeah, you're never going to use all of it, and you're not going to hurt by using a little extra.
No, and if you feel like you need to use it, you've got a rose outside, a lawn, any place that has soil needs to be buffered. Now, here's the thing, and not an attack on down to earth, but one of the employees said, you might overshoot your pH. That's true and not true, because with limestone, it's a rock, and the only way this rock...
Use something and unrock it.
The only way to unrock that is acid, and acid has to come at 6.9 or less. 6.9 is barely an acid. 6.8 is getting a little stronger. 6.5, it's just going to be maintaining and slowly dissolving.
Sure.
At 5.5, you're going to take a chunk of that. It's going to buffer and then hold the rest. But at 1 tablespoon, you're not even going to get close. And at 1 cup, even if you got all the way up to 7.4, it will water out and get back to neutral within a week. So if you overdosed it, it's going to be fine. I'd rather overdose with this limestone because it's going to kind of buffer in a couple weeks, and you can always feed them more acidically. And the acid will just reduce the pH.
It's easier to go that way than the other way.
I feel it is. So that's the big thing. And then for applications after that, let's say you normally end up at 6.2 in bloom, then, you'd want to start the round off with maybe 1/4 of a cup or 1/3 of a cup. Just kind of ration this a little bit out. But if you're below 6 going in every time, 1 cup is not even, it should finish you all the way through, but it's going to touch the surface. Anything less than that is barely going to scratch the surface. And same with the Chimera. We talk about the Chimera often, and hopefully this will just be a clip someday.
Yeah.
Because I think Chimera is one of those where people are still running out to their store, they're demanding they get this product, their water is 8.4 out of the tap, and they'll never need Chimera. I almost need to make an acidic mix that has the same bloom properties but has sulfates in it to make sure the pH gets stripped out of the soil versus this that's trying to build alkalinity back into the soil. But with Chimera, that's it. If you're not below 6.4, don't add it. And here's why. Chimera has this much dolomitic lime in it and this much calcium carbonate in it, and this much dolomitic will take your pH from 5.5 and take it to 7.1 because it's magnesium sulfate, and that is very, very fast reacting pH. It's actually magnesium oxide. So that oxide is going to jack the pH way up. And then that takes you way out of their range on the other side, and the plants are like, oh, man, we can't eat over here, and we can't eat over here. Pick a lane. So if you're at 6.4, 6.5, and you add a bunch of Chimera, you could go to 7.5, and then your plants will be mad for about a week until that brings it back down into the high 6s. Most people that are using it that know about it, that are loving it, Pig Farmer, we used to make him a custom soil, and then he moved out of state, and now we have to ship him something different. Anyway, with him, he's only doing 4-shot with the alkalinity built in, and then he's doing Chimera at a day 1 and day 21 top dress. And when your flowers are coming out like that, I mean, this is
a wedding cake.
Look at his hand on this one. Oh, wait, where's it? Look at this.
Jesus.
And so, you know, we figured out that recipe, and just for
reference.
Yeah, that's his hand.
And for scale.
Yeah,
and then, he's not a small man. He's normal sized, not a child.
Yeah, these are doing pretty good. And this is a little medical. So, I mean, anyway, Chimera, used properly, is a game changer of nitrous. If used greedily, it can put you out of pH range and your plants can't even consume it. So, I think the whole line, the hard part's just figuring out the whole, correcting the pH. And if you know your pH is always going to be down in the middle of flower, just get ahead of it. Go buy limestone and get ahead of it, because it's the game changer for the guys who figured it out. So there's that. And if you are constantly too high, I've got a few guys right now that are just, I can't get my soil below 8. And it is a struggle when you're at that height and it's your water and you can't go out and get RO. And even if you do get RO, it's going to take you 5 weeks to strip all that 8 out of the soil.
It's going to take you till it's too fucking late.
Yeah, your flower. Yeah. Then it's really comes down to, there's a product, Bounty. Remember Seth? Bounty Alaskan Humus.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, not to plug companies, but for the longest time, we used to get our Alaskan Humus from Seth from a Bounty, and Bounty makes a
it's like
series
of 2008 all over again. We're just starting over.
It hurts, but it is one of the old. It's a great compost source. It adds a lot of organic acids that reduce pH very fast. My guy out in New Hampshire that I've been working with for over a year, you know, he has had these issues where his pH just goes through the roof because of this water source. And the only thing that maintains it and keeps it down is Alaskan Humus. And it's just organic acids being slowly. We've tried Gaia flushes at 5.5. We've tried feeding them at 6.0 all the way through. His soil just gains pH. So Alaskan Humus as a 1-inch top dress is pure humate.
Yeah.
Slowly keeps that buffered in the mid-6s the whole way through.
It just
slowly. It's just acids. And it's organic acid, so it's not phosphoric. It's not citric, it's not a weak, it's not a caustic, it's just constant digestive acids. So if you
acid in the chemical sense, not in the
pH sense.
Yeah.
Well, humic acid's got a 9.3 pH, so go figure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not technically an acid.
Well, yeah, acid's got a bad reputation.
Yeah, plants love it. Well, it depends on your circles.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Yeah.
Some like shrooms, some like acid. I don't know. Tomato. But it really comes down to plants love organic acids. Organic meaning they're naturally being decayed and broken down from humates and compost, and you know right before oil is humates, and right above oil is humic acid and humates. Right above that is decaying, rotting, dead things, and right above that are root zones, and right above that are plants. So when this dies, it's a constant. It never ever stops.
This is concentrated stuff. It's the concentrated version of that. Yeah.
Literally, when you buy Zeus juice, you're buying one step away from oil. That's it.
Yep.
There's no difference. I mean, the only difference is that Halliburton didn't get this. This came out of someplace else that turned into plant food, because most carbon from oil is plant food, because it was a plant. Crude is a great thing to have back in the soil because it was soil. So just so you know, microbes eat oil. It's amazing.
Okay, what do you think of that? Informative, entertaining, helpful, agree, disagree, questions, comments? How long have you been gardening? What's it been like for you? What have you gotten from the experience? Let's talk about that in the comments. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.